My name is Sarah, and I am 30 years old, and I am a woman who has lived through many different things in life, and I want to tell my story in a simple way. I have a son whose name is Jake, and he is 10 years old, and he is from my first marriage, because before I met my current husband, I was already married once, but sadly that marriage did not last, and after some time we separated. Even though my first marriage ended, I always felt grateful that I had my son, because he gave me love and strength, and he made my life feel full of meaning. Some years later, when I was 24 years old, I met John, who is now my husband, and at that time he was 32 years old. So there was some age difference, but it did not matter to me, because I liked him from the very beginning. We met by phone first, and we started to talk almost every day, and the more we talked, the more I felt happy, because his voice was kind, and his way of speaking made me feel safe. We spoke on the phone for many weeks before we decided to meet in person, and when we finally met face to face, we were both very happy, and I knew right away that I wanted to see him again. Very soon after that, John and I started dating, and it felt natural, and we enjoyed spending time together. John had never been married before, and he did not have any children, while I already had Jake. But John was kind to him, and that made me trust him more. Slowly we built a relationship, and after some time, we decided to live together. Later we got married, and now we also have a baby together, who is 1 year old. So now I am a mother of 2 children, 1 older son and 1 baby. Even though our life together looked good, there were some things from John's past that stayed in my mind. John once told me about a girlfriend he had before me. He lived with her for 4 years, but they never married. He said he was the one who left her, and I did not ask too many questions, because I wanted to look forward, not backward. But John also told me about a girl from when he was very young, around 16 or 17 years old. Before he went to the army, he said that she was his first love, and he loved her very much. But when he went away to serve, she did not wait for him, and she left him. John said that this broke his heart, and his mother also told me that John never really forgot about her, and that he always carried that memory. When I heard this, I became curious about this first love, but at the same time, I felt worried, because I did not want to live in the shadow of another woman. Sometimes when John talked about her, or when I saw his eyes become quiet and thoughtful, I wondered if he still missed her. I did not want to make him upset, so I did not ask too many questions. But deep inside me, I wanted to know the truth. One day, John invited me and my son Jake to his apartment. I was excited, but when we arrived, I was surprised, because the apartment was old and not well taken care of. There were no repairs, and the furniture was old. I asked John why it was like that, and he told me that he lived with his parents for many years and did not fix the place. Later, his mother told me that in the past, he used to spend time drinking beer with his friends and sitting on a bench in the park, and sometimes he brought different girls to his apartment, but only for a short time. I felt a little shocked when I learned this, but I told myself that the past is the past, and what matters is our life now. However, I also noticed that John kept a small card from his first girlfriend, the one who left when he went to the army. He kept that card as a memory, and every time I saw it, my heart felt a little heavy. One New Year's Eve, John and I decided to go with Jake to the city centre to see the lights and enjoy the holiday. The city was bright and full of people, but then I noticed something strange. John suddenly walked away from us and stood alone. I followed his eyes and I saw that he was looking at a woman. She was with her husband, and she looked very familiar. Then I realized that she was John's first love. I watched John, and he seemed sad, and for some minutes he did not speak to me. I felt confused. Why was he watching her like that? Why did he seem lost in thought? I started to wonder if maybe he still loved her, and if maybe he cared more about her than about me. My heart felt heavy, and my mind was full of questions. Later, I tried to talk to John about it. I asked him, "Do you still love her? Do you think about her often?" But John became angry, and he said, "You are imagining things. You are not thinking straight." Still, I was not sure. Sometimes he mentioned her. Sometimes he asked about her life. And even once he spoke to her brother to know how she was doing. Why would he do that if he did not still care? John's mother also talked about that girl, and she always said that John loved her deeply and was very sad when she left him. Every time she said this, I felt like I was not enough, like I was not as important as that first love. Slowly, I started to feel lonely, even though I was married. I wanted John to focus on our family, on our baby, on my son Jake, and on me, but it felt like part of him was still in the past. I tried many times to talk to John again. I asked him if he still loved her, and every time he told me I was imagining things. But deep inside, I could not believe him anymore, because his actions and his eyes told me something different. I thought about everything carefully. I thought about my life, my children, and my marriage. I loved John, but it felt like he did not love me in the same way, because maybe he would never stop thinking about his first girlfriend. Maybe he would never love me the way he loved her, and I knew I could not live forever with that feeling. After many days of thinking, I decided to ask him one last time. I said, "John, do you want to stay with me, or do you want to go back to her?" He was surprised and said, "What do you mean? I love you." But I did not feel his words anymore. I told him, "I cannot live like this. I need someone who loves me completely, who loves our family, and who is not living in the past." It was not easy, but I knew I had to make a change. I decided to leave John because I could not live in the shadow of his first love. I could not be second best. I needed to be with someone who made me feel loved, important, and respected. And so, I started a new path, even though it was hard. I chose to protect myself, my son Jake, and my baby. I chose to build a life where love is clear, honest, and full. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share.